Welcome back to American Hammers TV. If you are watching this and have not yet clicked the subscribe button down there, please do so. We had, almost 100 subscribers in 2 days, which was nuts with that little push that I made to let everyone know on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter that we're looking to get to 1,000 as soon as possible, because once we hit there, we're going to start doing some giveaways. We're going to start having a pre-order on scarves, which a few of those will actually be given away, some contests. Also, we'll be giving away some of these drinkware design mugs, drinkwaredesign.com, link in the description below. And who knows what else. We'll be doing some fun stuff once we hit 1,000. So we're already, last I checked, at 717. And
that's great.
Just yesterday, we were at 666, which I was like, oh no, we gotta get away from that.
Right.
So now we're at 717. So thank you. In one day.
I'm going to see him Thursday night, Tim. I'm going to see him Maiden Thursday night. So we'll be here.
Number of the Beast.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but we've gone past that though at American Hammers TV. We've moved on to 717. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll share the wealth when we get to 1,000, and we can start making a little bit of money. You know, we'll do giveaways and stuff, and also we'll have a better setup for everybody to watch too.
That's the key too. So in the meantime, I don't know if you checked already, people who are watching this, the banner above us. Actually, it's not above us, but anyway, we have a new banner up there. We would love your feedback if you could say so in the comments below. And what else? We're going to be doing. This is probably the last broadcast that I'll be doing using Google Hangouts. I don't know what the others have in mind, but we're pretty much putting out content almost every day, and we're not stop until we get content for every single day. A little bit of something different for everybody. Like we have the Bitch Fest, we have the upcoming, we have the season. Not season preview. We have like match previews, match review shows, which Celly, our guest tonight, will be on, which we'll get into a little bit later. We're also going to have Allie, who you've seen on the show before, talking about West Ham women stuff, doing pre-match, post-match comments and stuff like that. We're going to have some UK friends send us their immediate post-match reaction videos. We're going to put them all together, and Wayne will edit them and post them out for you. So a whole slew of stuff, plus the regular interviews of American West Ham fans and fans abroad. Hammers Brazil is the one I'm looking most forward to. It's coming up real soon, in a couple of weeks. We've already had a gentleman from Australia and now Canadians out there. I know there's quite a few of you groups. I'm trying to get you guys on the show. It'll be kind of cool for you to join the show too. I asked Chilean Hammers, but they said that their English isn't ready yet. I tried.
Yeah, I've got a couple of coworkers down in Chile. Maybe they could be translators for us.
I thought about that.
No, I really do. I work with people in Chile every day, and they speak great English. So
Yeah. No. So the point is, we're definitely reaching out and trying to expand and grow, and not gonna, we're just gonna keep on growing and keep giving you new content and cool new guests and stuff like that. So speaking of cool new guests, tonight we have a gentleman who is going to be joining Gaz on the upcoming season's match review episodes that we're going to be doing. Celly, what's going on, my man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Appreciate y'all having me today. It was kind of cool, actually, real quick. Saying people from Chile and Brazil, and I know we've had people from Australia before. It's just kind of interesting with the team, just how big the fan base actually is. It's not just exclusive to the UK or just the States. It's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. We're looking at other supporters groups all over, even like Eastern Europe and so on. We're trying to unearth them all. I mean, whoever we have contact or reach to. I know not everyone watches YouTube. Not everyone has Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, but we're trying to unearth them all. I mean, when Lee and I first started this, I mentioned this in the other night's show that we did. Lee was saying, man, we're probably gonna have like 20 subscribers. There's not many, West Ham fans here in America. It's all glory hunters and blah 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 blah. And sure enough, Lee, look what we've done so far, man. Just in a short few months.
Tim said we could get 10,000 people, and I said, I don't know, it may be more like 10.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere. It's kind of
10,000. Yeah.
Right.
But then we did that Fan Fest event in Boston, right? And look, you remember how many we thought maybe we'd see like 4 or 5, maybe 10 tops.
Yeah.
Wearing West Ham shirts, and we saw a lot. Lee, right?
A couple hundred probably, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, on a terrible, terrible day for West Ham, but a couple hundred people probably easily, more than we could ever walk up and talk to or try to make contact with. They were everywhere. So that was just in Boston. So you figure that's more or less New England. People who actually could show up in Boston on that day with tickets to the event.
Right.
So yeah, we're everywhere. Apparently, I had no idea, but we're everywhere.
Yes.
It's been great to meet everybody too. Like Celly, tell us again. You said you're near Sacramento. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Right now I live in Roseville, about half an hour outside of Sacramento, but I'm originally from Colorado. Yeah, getting into West Ham. It was an interesting story because in my high school, I didn't really get into football until about my high school days. I worked on the school newspaper, and through that, I was able to interview a lot of soccer players on the team. I went to Rangeview High School, so shout out to everybody out there. But our soccer team actually was nationally ranked, and we had a lot of quality players, and we were doing a lot of pieces on them or interview individuals and stuff like that. But anyways, getting to know a lot of them got me to get into soccer naturally. So this was probably about 2005, 2006, 7. Not to age anybody, but so I was in.
I'm the only one who's aged. I'm the only one who's aged. Sorry about that. Yeah.
But yeah, no. To kind of jokingly talk about glory hunting fans, the first team I actually really liked was Man United. But it was funny because I didn't know who they were or what their history was when I started becoming a fan of them. I really became a fan because they were good to play with on FIFA. And so I fast forward to 2012. I'm in the military. I go stationed to England, and that's how I met Gaz. We worked at the cafeteria together, and obviously he sweats and bleeds West Ham, and we got to talking about them, and he took me out to a game. It was a game at the old Boleyn. Spent the whole day out there, went and got food, went to the Boleyn, drank a lot. Then we went to the game, and unfortunately, the game was pretty terrible. We played Stoke, lost 1-0, but like the football game itself just wasn't good. But just from that, I was hooked. Just the atmosphere. Hearing Bubbles in person is actually amazing, and just being around the fans. That all they really want to do is just see people put in the effort. No matter who you're playing, win, lose, as long as you show that you are there for the badge, I think is a real cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, so you got recruited then. You were,
yeah.
There was a missionary went out and recruited you into the faith.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It was cool, because going out there and being able to experience the whole day down at the ground. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. If Gary is in the comments, I'm sure he'll name it. Yeah, we went and got English breakfast. Immediately right after that, we went to the Boleyn and spent about 3 or 4 hours maybe there. Pretty much from it open until it was about kickoff time. About half an hour beforehand, then we went to the ground, not too far away. Got some more drinks and just spent the whole day just enjoying the game, or trying to anyways. Like I said, it wasn't that great, but it was a fun time.
He said it's Ken's Cafe.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good food, real nice.
So are you still in the military now?
Yes, yeah, right now I still am. Yep.
Okay. And which branch are you in?
I'm in the Air Force.
You're in the Air Force, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So California is like a temporary thing for you, probably.
Yeah, I've been here the longest out of any place I've been so far. I've been here about just over 3.5 years.
Wow.
So yeah, just saying 3.5 years is the longest place I've been. I've definitely bounced around a lot, and I'm sure I'll bounce around some more, but we shall see what's in the cards.
Do you ever get to like Sacramento or Fresno to watch a game with any of the West Ham fans there?
No, actually, I recently found out about them at the end of last season, and I wasn't able to go down there just because the schedule didn't line up. I worked on the weekends. Excuse me. Actually, I didn't work on the weekends, but I had just come back from a deployment, so I wasn't here a lot when the season was coming to an end. But yeah, I just found out about him, and I'm definitely going to try to make as many games down there as I can.
Yeah, Sacramento. We've had Sacramento on, Tim. I think.
No, we did. That's where Celly was. They were going. I mean, we were talking to Celly while he was in the chat room.
Oh right,
but,
right.
Yeah.
And Fresno has a big group. I don't know how far away Fresno is from you, but either one of those.
Bay Area supposedly has a group too.
Who does?
They're the Bay Area, but they're some of the hardest people. I can't say they're the hardest people to get in touch with, but I've invited 3 of the supposed Bay Area hammers on the show, and not one of them even responded back to me. I mean,
they're very busy with like wine tastings, and they have to write a lot of code because they're in Silicon Valley.
Right.
They're probably busy trying to like live out of their cars or something.
I don't know,
right.
$30,000 salaries, and they can't afford apartments. Celly, do you know somebody named Imani Celestine?
Yeah, it's my sister.
She just subscribed to our channel, so thank you.
Newest subscriber. Yes. So thank you.
Yes.
I was going to ask that. That's funny. You saw it too?
I saw it too. I said that's got to be.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's
thank
awesome.
you for subscribing. That's 718 now. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
We're cracking. That's awesome.
Good.
Just so you know, the freaking the chat room is. I can't even. Oh my god! I could scroll. Man, this thing is just bananas tonight. So we had a bunch of people, I guess, waiting in the chat room for us before we even started. And I didn't even know that could happen. So right. Scott Davis is in there. Gary, obviously, aka Gaz for us. Trevor Tebow. He's really cool, man. In the UK, in the early hours of Monday, he says, Charlie Walsh. What's up, Charlie?
Hey, Charlie.
Casey's in the chat room. Casey's heavy on Discord too. So for all of you people who want to join in the fun, I mean, all 3 of us here in the chat room not chat room, the Discord as well. A lot of cool different rooms in there. You can chat about different things, non-West Ham stuff, West Ham women stuff, upcoming shows, future guests, London trip, Vegas trip, whatever. I mean, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff. Cody Barrett's in here. That's awesome. PJ Miller, good to see you, girl. I know you got in trouble for saying man the other day. I'm so sorry. Just flipping through. I call everybody man. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for being in there again. Who else is in here? John Black's farting 1,000 times, he says.
Hey, John. Hey, ask him how the ribs were. He did like legit text.
They look delicious, yeah. I saw those, yeah.
Twitter pictures looked amazing.
Ken McGuire.
Hey, Ken. How you doing, buddy?
Neil from Down Under, back when it was 9:08 p.m. Eastern Time, he said it was 10:38 a.m. in Monday morning, because they're 13 and a half hours ahead of us, or he is, I'm sorry. Wow. So that's awesome, dude, for tuning in here, and they're all chatting away.
See the future, because it's already Monday there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wayne, our buddy Wayne's in there giving me shit about how I say cafe instead of calf. Ken's calf, not cafe. Thanks, prick. But
silent E's.
Noah Thomas, we just had on the other night. It's on here. What's up, Noah? From Memphis.
Noah, how you doing, man? That's cool.
And I know this probably bores some people, but I love at least mentioning everyone who's in the room, and we'll go back to if there's any questions.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones who are here. Really.
Gabe's in there, obviously. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
What's up, Gabe? Dunk Irons, man. Good to see you. I see you all over the different chat rooms, all the different shows.
Wally? Is Wally around? Or I know he's got some.
He's got some stuff going on. I don't see him in here, but anyway, if you guys have any questions for Celly or us or whatever, please save it until about the halfway mark, which is usually like half past or 40 past the hour, because I'm not going to scroll all the way back. Sorry, I would love that. I would love to have some questions. So
the chat room is always a fun place to be when you guys are doing shows. When there's any show really, because sometimes you'll have people who are talking to the host, the guest, and you have a lot of times where the chat room's just talking amongst themselves, and it's really pretty interesting.
I love it. I know, and it's better now, obviously, that we're growing. And I mean, when it was just Gabe and Wally, it was kind of interesting. 2 guys in there, but I mean, no, it's grown quite a bit, and I appreciate every single one of you for popping in there, man. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'll get back to it. So what are we talking about?
I was talking about my first experience at the Bowl-In.
Right on, man. Have you gone to London Stadium yet?
Yes, actually, me and Gaz, I got a good story for this too. But me and Gaz actually had a chance to go this past season in March. We went to go see them play Huddersfield.
Oh Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was really interesting because unfortunately we were running a little bit late, and as we were walking up to the stadium, you heard a collective cheer from as you were walking up. So oh man, somebody must have scored for us. And then we get a little bit closer, and about a minute or two later, you can hear the guy, oh, West Ham United score. I think it was Antonio or whoever was scored. And then not even 5 minutes later, you hear a smaller cheer, and you're like, oh dang, somebody just equalized. So sure enough, that's what happened. So we get into the stadium, get to our seats, and fast forward, we're down 3-1, and at this point, it's like, why are we even here? Whatever. And Gary was like, there were some people sitting in front of us that they had season tickets, but one of the girls, it was her birthday, so a lot of her family was there, so they were sitting in other places. And Gary had just so happened to say, man, we could be playing for about a half an hour and we're not going to get a goal. Sure enough, as he says it, we score off a free kick, and so we're down 3-2. And then we get another free kick a few minutes later, and the dad of the girl turns around and says, "Hey, go ahead and say it again. Let's just see what happens." So Garrett's like, "Oh man, we could be playing for another half an hour and not score a goal." And sure enough, off the free kick, we score, tie it up, and then
That's awesome.
and then yeah, I think I can't remember. I think the last goal was free play or maybe another corner or whatever the case may be.
I think it was a header, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Chicharito's diving header for sure. I just don't remember if it came off the run of play or not. But as it was building up, everybody's there with anticipation, and Garrett's like, "Oh man, we could be playing for half an hour and we wouldn't score again." And and it goes in, and so it turned kind of a frustrating start into a pretty fun ending.
Oh man, I remember that day vividly, man. I was working for a company called Habitat for Humanity, and I was on the truck picking up donations, stuff like that. So I had the game on the radio because I couldn't get NBC Sports Gold or whatever to work. So I had to listen to it on the West Ham website's audio stream. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you how many times I punched the door or smashed the dashboard and everything. And then every time I come back in, there'd be a goal scored. I mean, I'd go pick up a donation, come back in the truck, the game would still be on, and I miss every single goal. But that 7 goals that game, man, I can't imagine being there. That was a great game to be there. My first game, 0-0 draw.
Oh wow.
boring, cool, wet night, 0-0 against Man U, man.
It's interesting because
losing though, So what did you think? Now I got to go to the Berlin about 9 years ago with Ken, who's in the chat room now, and then Tim's been to the Olympic Stadium, but we haven't been. He didn't ever get to go to the Berlin. I haven't been to the Olympic Stadium. So, what was your take on how the two of them compared?
Well, it was interesting because obviously when I was at the Berlin, the game was pretty upsetting, but it was interesting because the fans were getting on top of the players, for not making runs, not closing down players, not really putting much of an effort in. Mm-hmm. And then go to the London Stadium, it was interesting because like our tickets, we were pretty high up. So we're about maybe 2 or 3 rows from the top. And it sounded really quiet in there, granted, the game wasn't really enticing enough until the very end. Like the last 20 minutes is when we finally just started to start scoring. But yeah, it just seemed pretty quiet. Nobody was really trying to sing. And the Huddersfield fans, like for anybody who's been there, there's 2 parts of the stadium where the away fans sit. There's like a lower bowl part and then there's a upper bowl part. But Huddersfield, they only filled up their smaller bowl part. And there was a time in the game where they were louder than the entire London Stadium, West Ham fans, obviously because their team was on top. But I always think it doesn't really matter where you play. I think people will be up for it as long as the team is up for it, And obviously after we scored the game-winning goal, we got pretty loud in there. But to go down 3-1 to literally the worst team in the league, nobody wants to stand and cheer for that, So it was just an interesting aspect.
Did you find the crowd was different? I only asked because I went to Fenway Park the other night. And I don't go very often anymore. I go every 3 or 4 years. But when I went to Fenway 20 years ago, before the Red Sox won the World Series, if you went to a Red Sox-Yankees game at Fenway, it crackled. There was atmosphere. There was atmosphere. There was some real anger there. And it was a more sort of blue-collar crowd, a little bit of a rougher crowd. Now, I went to see the Red Sox Yankees last Thursday. It's a lot of families, a lot of kids. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that
Right.
the very dull, flat atmosphere compared to where it was 20 years ago. The crowd has actually changed. The makeup of the crowd has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For like the difference between what you saw at the Bowl and what you saw at the Olympic Stadium.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think at the Bowl Inn, with it being, literally in the middle of a neighborhood, the people that go to the game want to be there. They only had about 30-some thousand seats there.
Yeah.
And it was a whole event. You didn't just go there just to watch football. You go there to get the food. You go there to, get some drinks, and even afterwards, all that stuff too. So, especially with it being a neighborhood, you probably recognize everybody that's going to the game anyway. But then with the London Stadium, and it's, I guess it happens whenever you move to a big stadium in a big city like this that you haven't really been able to grow as your own yet.
Mm-hmm.
We could tell, me and Gaz, that, there were some pedestrian fans in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of especially where we were sitting, obviously, because the tickets were cheaper. Now, there were some fans that we were sitting next to that were diehard and they were in it, but
Mm-hmm.
there were also some fans, like we were sitting next to some teenage boys that you could tell were just there just to get drunk, because one of the kids, it was already the second half and Chicharito had been substituted on for Arnautovic, and the guy was like, "Oh man, we'd be doing a lot better if Chicha was playing right now." And guys kind of looked over to him and he's like, "Yeah, he's been subbed in for about 15 minutes, that kind of thing." And I wouldn't say that would never happen at the Bowl Inn, but I'm pretty sure, like, if somebody got substituted on, like, you'd know about it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
just
it was
want
interesting.
to mention real quick. So a couple more people popped in the chat room. We got Ashton from Perth, Australia. So that's really cool.
Australia's representing.
The gentleman who, I don't know if you ever read like the comments that we get, like after the videos have been posted, not the live stuff.
I tried.
You remember TJ Cooney Jr.? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on earlier.
He's awesome. I love him, man.
Nice.
Nice. Yes. I would love to have him on the show. I've asked him before. He told me that, maybe sometime, but he definitely loves watching the shows, and he's super, he works hard. He works a lot. So, hey, I think if you want to come on the show, TJ Cooney Jr., or actually anyone who's in the chat room who we've not had on the show yet, if you want to join the show, if you're watching this after the fact, if you want to join the show, please just reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to schedule with you somehow. The only requirement is that you're a West Ham supporter. That's it. I don't care where you live. I don't care if you're an American, UK, Australia, whatever. Like, just reach out to us. I don't care if it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We answer all of our messages. Just would love to have you on, and we can be having a great conversation like we're having here with Celly.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, Tim answers all the messages. Tim does all the work. I show up twice a week.
You got a nice little website going on there, though, brother.
The website is up. Yeah, it's. I'm gonna put up the new schedule tomorrow for.
Just wait till you have to put up all the past guests' season predictions, the table predictions.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing all the work and putting them on a spreadsheet, and you just gotta figure out how you're gonna get them on the website.
No, I've got to send you mine. I want to do my predictions too. I'm going to have some shockers in there. I have some real shockers in there.
Oh, there's been a few already. I've looked at them. I mean, what we've received so far from people like we've had Joe McLaren from Knoxville, who's given us one. Scott Davis has given us. I mean, all those guys. I mean, just random. Ryan Becht from Alamo City, not Alamo City, yeah. Bayou Ironworks.
Yeah, Houston. Yeah.
I mean, everybody has. I reached out to almost every one of our previous guests, and even Batman from Crossed Hammers has sent us one. Steve Mothersoul, just a regular fan from one of our good friends from England. I mean, everybody sent us stuff, and some of it's like, are you serious? Like, really?
Did anybody
like fucking Chelsea win the league or whatever? I'm like, come on.
Has anybody picked us to win the league yet?
Nobody's picked us to win the league. I think I've picked us to go highest in the table. I think I'm the one who picked us.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, we could be Leicester, right?
Yeah.
Stars alive.
Because I'm sure the bookies won't put 5,000 to 1 ever again.
Me and Steve Mothersoul are the
I
only
might put
two.
down a bet on 5,000 to 1, although I don't usually bet, but I might put down a bet on 5,000 to 1 because, I mean, why not, right?
It really happened in Leicester City, right? Me and Steve Mothersoul, out of all the predictions that I've gotten so far, I'd say they're about at least 20. We're the only two that predicted Chelsea outside of the top 8.
Top 8. Wow. Okay.
Oh, it's Lampard's first season.
Yeah, no.
Hazard. I mean,
I think Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United are all going to.
I can't tell you how many people predicted them to be in the top 4.
Chelsea.
Almost everybody predicted them to be in the top 4.
Who, Man United?
Chelsea.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, how? Yeah, these are West Ham fans predicting Chelsea to be in the top 4. I'm like, how could you do that to me?
Ban? I thought they still have
Huh?
Don't they still have a transfer ban?
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
This season they do. Got a transfer ban and they lost their best player.
But again, I asked for everyone. I asked everybody to do it. I asked them to be, pick it however they want. I'm not telling them how to pick. I'm just saying it's very interesting. So basically what happens is once I receive as many as I can with, I know there's a bunch of people who I didn't get to reach out to, like Gabe. Gabe, you're watching. Please send me your table prediction. I know because basically everyone I sent to was on like a Facebook group. So people who I talked to on Instagram, they've had on the show that don't have Facebook or whatever, just you've been on the show, send me the prediction. Charlie, because I'm not friends with you on Facebook, Charlie. That's why. Charlie says you never asked me, Tim. I asked like 25 people on Facebook, and anyway. But here's the other thing: I asked people to send me the predictions, 1 to 20, and I got 3 back saying West Ham 8th, West Ham 6th.
Right.
I'm like, I want the table, man. I want your table predictions, not where we sit in the table.
I know you guys probably got some shockers for how the table finishes toward the top, but was there any ones that surprised you for who might be relegated this year?
The relegation, no, almost everybody predicted, the Sheffield, pretty much the teams that are coming up, which is kind of weird to me.
It's rare that all 3 go back down.
Exactly. And listen, yeah. I just like Wilshire having a good year this year. I think Ravel's going to have one of those years that is going to shock everybody. Same thing with Wilshire. Wilshire's going to shock everybody this year. He's going to play at least 30 games, and Ravel's going to do the same thing. He's going to play fantastic for Sheffield. As much as I hate Sheffield United, I think Ravel's going to do a great job. And he's going to keep them up.
Yeah, he's on that stage again.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's gonna. I think Sheffield's gonna stay up. That's one of the ones I think, and I think Brighton are definitely going down.
I think Sheffield United.
I say about half the people predicted Brighton to go down. Everybody said Norwich going down. I'm like, Norwich has a great. Out of all the teams that came up this year, Norwich have the best manager.
Yeah, Norwich won the championship last season.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, but anyway, that's everybody's got their opinions. That's fun.
Okay, Celly, where do you see us finishing in the season?
And I want to know after that. I want to know who you think are going to be the 3 getting relegated.
Oh wow, okay. So definitely better than what we finished last season. So I don't see any reason for us to finish below 10th because there were even chances where we should have finished higher than that. It seemed like every chance last year that we had to move up to 7th, that game we were like, we'll take this game off. And it happened like 3 or 4 times.
We had 8 points taken away by bad decisions. I mean, between 5 and 8 points, let's say. That could be considerably. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll be better. Yeah.
But I'll say, this is good. 6th or 7th, I'll say. Top 5 would be good, but I don't know. I think it just depends on injuries and other teams. I think if we go top 5, that means somebody really muffed it up, and you have your Chelsea, your Man United. Arsenal is always a question mark, but for as much as Arsenal fans love to moan, like they get top 3, like it's like it's copy and paste almost every season.
And they do love to moan.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Do you know
a lot of other football fans, like of other clubs? Do you see them, hang out with them, talk to them?
Oh yeah. So I have a lot of people that I work with or come in that are big Spanish league fans. So either Real Madrid, Barcelona. Yeah. My friends in high school, a lot of them were Arsenal. My school's athletic director was a huge Liverpool fan, had a big badge in his office.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, kind of, I think out of everybody, Barcelona and I think probably Chelsea are the 2 biggest friends that I know.
Who do you think are the worst? I
I
love asking this question.
I have a real good friend of mine who was stationed with me and guys in England who is a big Man City fan, and I would say, well, I don't know, I can't because he's just the one, but most annoying probably Arsenal.
Yeah.
I'd have to say Arsenal, and shout out to my friend Adrian Lockett. He's a huge Arsenal fan, but just from then, Arsenal and Chelsea probably the two most annoying.
Yeah, I met a Chelsea fan at a work event I had to go to a couple of weeks ago down in Virginia. And he's to give him some credit, he at least says he was a Chelsea fan before Abramovich, and maybe he was. I mean, whatever. I don't care. But he was talking about an Arsenal fan friend of his who doesn't put his Arsenal flag up at his house anymore.
Oh, wow.
He says Arsenal never win, and he's embarrassed by the flag. He doesn't want to put it up. What's the point? And I'm like, we never win.
Right.
I got West Ham stuff everywhere. We never win. I don't care. It doesn't matter to
right.
me. I mean, I'm not embarrassed. Well, sometimes I'm embarrassed by the performance, but never to be a fan. Never.
No.
Yeah,
no. If you're
love to moan.
If you're a diehard West Ham fan, I think you know the territory that comes with it. You love the struggle, I guess. You're not a glory hunter, obviously. I think, you do your work. And I think even though a lot of fans in America anyway that know the team probably know it from Green Street Hooligans, so.
A good chunk of me.
Whatever.
Yeah. So just real quick, a lot of people, when we just started talking about the relegation, who's going to go down, the chat room just blew up and everybody was giving their predictions for the 3 to go down, which is funny because out of all the majority of the predictions that I got so far, out of the 20, about half of them said Newcastle, but almost everybody in the chat room threw Newcastle in there. And I thought, that should be like an obvious, right? Because the bullshit that's been going down with that club, the fact that they haven't really signed any transfers and they got Steve Bruce as manager. Isn't that like an automatic, fucking, that's going to be your manager in championship next year,
I'm trying to look up the table right now.
Newcastle finishes bottom of the table.
I'll read mine just for shits and giggles, just to kill.
They've been flirting around with it for a long time, so
yeah,
about time.
I'm down and back up within the last 10 to 12 years. So
I say Brighton will finish in the dead bottom, just because they're fucking nobody. And then I have Bournemouth because everybody loves to give Eddie Howe credit, but at the same time, they just don't have the quality. They're a small shit club, small club, and they should just go back down to League One where, their stadium fits the needs of, that's the size club they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 16,000 tops. You know what I mean? That's see you later, cherries. Love you. Bye. Newcastle, I have 18th. I have Norwich just above them, and Burnley at 16th, Villa at 15th, just because Villa's been signing people, man. They've been very active in the transfer window, and they've been really decent, making some really decent.
That's a big club. Villa's a big club.
Well, I would love to see them stay up just for that reason only, just for the fact that they're a massive club. They should be up here.
Proper supporters, yeah. Proper.
Watford 14th. I have because I fucking can't stand them. I can't stand Everton either. I have them at 13th. I have Leicester City because they're one of the most overrated clubs every single year. 11th. I have Southampton. So that's the top of the bottom half. The bottom of the top half, I actually have Sheffield United because I really believe that they're a lot better than a lot of us think, and a lot of the West Ham fans tend to say they're going straight back down because of the hatred they have for them versus the type of club they are. And I think that they're a very smart club, very intelligent.
There's always one promoted club that finishes top 10 and shocks everybody.
And I think that'll be that.
Me at all. I'm with you on that, actually.
Tompkins and crew will be 9th. Drink.
Right.
I have Chelsea at 8th. Oh, that's funny. I have Arsenal at 7th. I have Wolves at 6th because they're just they're really solid, man. They just really are.
Yeah.
5th, I have, so the top 5 is basically the order of hatred. So it's like Man City's a given that they're going to win the title. I mean, pretty much. I mean, they're the best team in the world, arguably. You know what I mean? Man City. And I have us as second, West Ham second place, because I can't put us beneath Man United because Man United is shit. They're going to be shit this year. So I have them third. I hate Tottenham even more, so I have them at fourth. But I hate Liverpool these days a lot more than Tottenham for some reason. So I have them sitting at fifth. So yeah, that's my fun. Again, this is for fun, so please don't take this out on me, anybody.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I have really pulled up right now because I got a long way to go. I can't wait to see what the chat room says about this.
I think Southampton could struggle, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I'm with you on Sheffield United. The promoted clubs, honestly, I mean, I think if you look back over the last 10 or 12 years, it's not uncommon to have all three survive. I mean, it happens. I feel as though it happens kind of a lot. Now maybe they don't stay up for 3 or 4 years, but I mean, they're able to sustain it for a season or two.
I guess to answer your question, because I know you're going to ask me who I think will get relegated.
Yeah. Check Tim's coffee, Ken says.
I'd have to say my three. I think Southampton go down. I think it'll be close because I know they're about 5 points clear at the end of last season, but I don't know. I think they might go down. Burnley not Burnley. Brighton and Villa, I think, will be the ones to go down.
But do you think Newcastle will stay up?
Newcastle's been flirting with going down for so long that I just think like they just love to suck, but just sit right there. I mean, last season, what did they get last season? They had 45 points. They were 11 points clear of relegation. So, I mean, once you get 40 points, you're pretty much in the clear. I feel like
unless you went in 2003, that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
But they're losing. To me, they're losing Rafa, and they're
just the whole scene is just dirty.
It feels like a relegation club to me. It feels like a club that's just. What happened to their buyer anyway? What happened to they were going to get bought out by some billionaire? And then,
they stopped talking about it. Something happened. They said nothing to see here.
So they went from a Benitez and an Abramovich style buyout to talking about signing every player in Europe. To having Steve Bruce, still no money with Mike Ashley, and signing no money. It feels like a relegation club.
You got a few people agreeing with you here about Southampton, and
no, I think Southampton.
I think they stay up, man. And
they've sold. But the thing about Southampton is they've sold all their best players to Liverpool. Yeah. They've been flirting with relegation now for several years. They've been a little bit lucky to stay up.
They have one of the greatest academies in all of England.
I know, but they don't keep their players. They haven't kept those players.
They just signed that Chi Adams from Birmingham City, who was a steal at $15 million.
Well, that may be. All I'm saying about Southampton is that's a club that's been flirting with relegation. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see Southampton go down because I feel as though if you look at their fixtures last season. They got a little bit lucky at the end of the season. I think they caught some of the top teams when they were kind of entrenched in the positions they were going to be in, and so they were able to win some games they wouldn't have won in maybe January or February. They were able to get some points out of matches that they wouldn't have had the season had it been a different had they played those clubs at a different time in the season. Southampton, Newcastle, and I'm actually with you on Bournemouth. I don't think Bournemouth is a long-term Premier League club.
No,
I don't think so.
I think Crystal Palace might flit around with it too. I'm not saying that they will get relegated, but I think they'd be pretty close to it. I mean, they had their goal difference.
Did they sell Zaha, or is he still there?
I don't think yet. No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it'll hinge on him. If he does go, then they'll have a tough time staying up for sure.
And that's when we buy James Tompkins back.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Let me grab some Hammers polls here. Because we're getting about that time. Hammers polls. What's his name? Wayne did a few of them earlier today, and I think he did say that he saved me a couple. Even though I wouldn't have minded just asking the same stuff because it's a different person, different answers. So yeah, I'll just pick whatever I want, I guess. All right. So one of the popular ones here that got a lot of votes was which option would you prefer to see going into the season? Allaire as a lone striker or Allaire and Antonio, dual striker?
I'll go this one. I'll say Allaire is a lone striker just because Antonio doesn't know how to score with his feet, and it's the most frustrating thing. Like Antonio is one of those players that like you would create for yourself in FIFA, but he just can't score with his feet. Like any goal in the air, he's dangerous, and he has the pace, and he's strong, and he can fight off almost anybody in the league.
Yep.
Yeah. But when it comes to him getting close to the 18, and you're like, man, he's going to wind up for it. You literally hold your breath every time. Yeah. And I told Gary, if you watch the highlight of him scoring at Tottenham, I think he was lucky to score it because that ball hit like the very top of the back of the net, so it was going to Rosie, just like all his other shots, So
no, Tim and I have talked about this before. We had it when we ran our club in Lowell. We had a player like him, fantastic player, could shake through any defender, could do just about anything except score. Every time, shot 30 feet over the bar. Every time.
And stand 2 feet in front of it.
Yeah.
I
you're
like,
with him in that?
Yeah, I think Pellegrini likes one striker. I think he likes with multiple attacking midfielders, and I think he likes the wingers to be in on the scoring. For me, our midfield is so packed right now.
Right.
I would rather see one guy up top and then get Fornals and Lanzini and Anderson and Yarmolenko, like try to get them all on the pitch at the same time. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
Not waste another spot on Antonio playing up front.
I was talking to Gaz earlier about that same thing and saying, once Allaire, however you pronounce his name, I think once he gets established, with a big body and he can score from wherever and distribute, I think once he becomes the striker that we want him to be, that he'll get so much attention from the back line that it'll just by default open up, Antonio, Yarmolenko, Lanzini, and each one of them, we've seen they can score from however far away that they want to. So I think that'll, kind of benefit itself.
I'm not even sure Antonio is the best option in our midfield right now. I mean, it's even in the ideal starting 11 right now. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think you start him against championship sides or whatever when you do early cup league games because he'll run anybody down into the ground, against them. So I think you start him for those and save somebody else.
Yeah. All right, next one is it's just kind of a weird one. It's got a lot more votes than the last question, but it says, is the Hugel transfer to QPR? I thought it was a loan deal, but I guess they call loans transfers too. I don't know.
I thought it was permanent. It's not permanent?
Is it permanent? I thought it was a loan.
I thought it was a loan too.
I haven't paid that much attention. Celly, do you know?
So the how about this? The Hugel move to QPR, is that a good deal?
I think somebody had mentioned in the Discord that he would be transferred, but we'd still be paying him. We're paying a majority of his wages. So I mean, if that's the case, then no, it's a bad move. Then I mean, granted, we'd be paying him less than what we'd be paying him now. But if you're going to have somebody go on another team, then he should be their pocket, not ours.
Yeah.
Like, why would we pay somebody to not play for us? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it happens a lot with the way the contracts are structured, and I'm not an expert on this, but I think it happens more often than we realize. However, I do agree that if you're paying 60% of somebody's wages who's going to go play for some other club, I mean, certainly as a fan of American sports, that's completely baffling to me how that works. So no, I would say on the face of it, no, I wouldn't say that's a good deal.
This is hilarious because I think the people out of the 613 people who voted for this, they must have been thinking, well, 57% of them were thinking that they're just glad to get Hugel out of the club, so it's a good deal because they said yes.
That's
it's a good deal. 57%.
It's crazy how much of like a punching line he's become, and he really only played like 2 or 3 games.
He was killing it in the reserves, man.
Yeah, no, he was.
I mean, I wanted him to work out for us because he really wanted to play for us. He was excited to play for West Ham.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of passion.
We didn't drag him kicking and screaming here, but probably the reason is he wasn't that good. So, yeah. That's the other side of the coin. Is the reason he's decided to play for us is because he was just beyond his level.
I always thought he was kind of like a panic buy. It was to close the transfer window, and we needed to buy somebody. Same thing with Sanchez. I don't really understand why we went after him.
I don't know why he's still around. Can't we just? I mean, can we just leave him somewhere? Like,
at least he upgraded his hair.
It had to be the shop window. The only reason why they were playing him in the preseason had to be a shop window because the performances the lack of performances last season, no one would buy him, especially on his wages and everything else. I mean, it's ridiculous. So maybe they were hoping he'd turn in a good preseason, but he didn't.
But he hasn't.
Right.
We should have thrown him in with Arnautovic in China. We should have just said, like, you know what? Part of the deal is you take this guy.
You take this guy, yeah. Christ.
Right.
We could have knocked a couple mil off the price for Arnautovic and just thrown Sanchez.
We're going to do things slightly different tonight. I know it's a little, we're actually still a little bit early, but I'm going to go ahead and do the 10 quickfire questions so that after we can go back in the chat room and see if there's any questions from the chat room. Okay. So to those watching right now, if you have any questions, think some up while we're doing the 10 rapid fire questions. I'll take a look in the chat room then when we're finished, and we'll answer some before we head out, okay? So these are rapid fire. You can elaborate if you choose, but we prefer you just, move along. But if you feel you need an explanation, don't worry about it. You can explain all you want, okay? Just, yeah. All right, cool. All right, so the first one is, who's your favorite West Ham player in the current squad?
Current squad, I like Anderson a lot. He's really exciting, and especially when he has the ball on his feet. He can get around anybody. Yeah,
no, I agree. He's definitely one of my tops. Even last year, he was, close to, Declan for me. I will not say a goalkeeper is my favorite player. Get out of here with that shit. All right. So who frustrates you the most?
Wait, say his name so they can take a drink. Say his name so they can take a drink.
Fabianski?
Okay, thank you.
Viva Roberto! That's the new hammer of the year, man. I'm telling you.
Right.
Fabianski's going to get hurt in the first week. Roberto's going to be hammer of the year. So anyway, who frustrates you the most in the current West Ham squad?
Like I was saying earlier, Antonio.
Yeah.
So much potential, but he just can't use his feet besides the run.
Yep. And so it's either Antonio it's Antonio or Fredericks. That's the one that we keep hearing because just like Antonio, they have passion, they have pace, they can do a lot of things, but the simple things they cannot do. They can't string a pass together.
Right.
They can't string a pass together. They can't string a pass together. They can't string a pass together. Passing. I mean, that's the fundamentals of football. Like that's what they cannot do, and that's what's holding them back from, a 10 to 15 to 20 million valuation to 40 million. So anyway, that's Fredericks frustrates me more, but Antonio definitely frustrates me.
Which is crazy for Fredericks too, because he was the only player last year to get 100 rating out of the whole season.
I can't believe it.
That's true.
I don't know. Fuck off. I don't buy it.
Was that against Watford? I can't remember which game that was, but yeah.
I think it was the Southampton, I think.
We might have been Southampton. Yeah, it was late in the season.
Yeah.
He did.
All right. So, wait a minute. Are these the right questions?
Are you asking the new ones?
Oh, shit. I was going to ask the other ones. What the hell's going on here? Look this up. No, fucking. He sent me so many different versions.
I know there's a lot of different versions going around. I know.
Fucking lean.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not like we're writing them all down and comparing them. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, but it's important that I get the right damn question here because the one that I was about to read is it's irrelevant completely. So. Just bear with me, and while we listen to some theme music.
Let's everybody sing Bubble.
Right.
That's another thing. Oh, here we go. Never mind. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Meat pie or apple pie?
Definitely apple pie. I got a sweet tooth, but I know my mom's watching. I will say her pumpkin pie is probably my favorite.
Right on.
Nice.
FA Cup or top 6 finish?
FA Cup, because then you get a chance to play for the Community Shield the next season.
Hell yeah, man.
And it's a trophy. It's a trophy.
Yeah, you get a chance for 2 trophies in 3 months, so it's better than that.
It's been 40 years. Yep, it's been 40 years. We got to get Noble a trophy, too.
What about West Ham do you love?
The community, all the fans. I think this is a big. I know that's might be the PC answer, but it's the truth. Just look at this.
The most common and correct answer.
Yeah, I mean, we get people. Like you said, Chile, Australia, all that. So I think it's pretty
I love
cool.
it. It's my
the community. Yeah.
Besides asking the first question of the show, which is how did you get into West Ham, finding out everyone's different stories. Besides that, just interacting with people from all over the world. This is like making new friends from all over the world. It's a community. I love that, man. Right, Lee?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. Yeah, absolutely.
So, in turn of things, what about West Ham do you hate?
Inconsistency. I love it's always funny that, for any top 6 team, we'll put a shift in, for the most part, but then the next week we'll play like Huddersfield and be down 3-1 for absolutely no reason.
For example, right? Just for example. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but then we beat Man United 3-1 in the same season. It's like, come on, get it together.
What's your favorite curse word?
I like shit a lot. I think it explains everything you wanted to.
That's the first time I think I've heard that one yet.
That's great.
It's the most common in America. That's probably the most common, besides fuck, right? And it's the most common word. And that's the first time I've heard that on the show.
You can say it in more places,
Yeah,
it's a little.
I say it all the time. Like when I had that attack with the fly the other night, I swung and missed, and I said, "Oh shit!" And then 2 seconds of the show. And then I got it. I got the thing. I did get it, by the way.
Yeah.
And then his brother came back. And anyway, all right. So, what team do you love to beat?
Any team who's like constantly in the top 5 or 6. Honestly, the teams that are always kind of shuffling between who wins it, and I guess whoever goes to the Champions League all the time. Those are the fun ones to beat because I think those games. We show up for the most. Look at away to Man City, look at home to Liverpool. Last season, and those games, 1 or 2 calls, 1 or 2 passes, 1 or 2 shots away from going in our direction. Or an ungiven penalty.
That's a great point because now thinking about that. I mean, I do love to beat Chelsea as much as I love to beat Man United, as much as I love to beat Liverpool, as much as I love to beat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those where. The most common answer is Tottenham or Man United, but
I think it's Chelsea for me. I think it's Chelsea.
I think it's the more I think about it, I think it's fucking all of them, really.
Chelsea represents everything that's bad about modern football to me.
Through the Premier League, whether it's the cup, the league itself. I mean, even from the highlights I saw from the Fulham preseason game, the away side was packed. Fulham fans barely even showed up, but our section it's like 4,000 strong of West Ham fans, but. I think the thing that's satisfying about beating them a lot is that they think that West Ham is a small club. I mean, say what you want to say about the London Stadium move. It's 60,000 seats that are full every weekend.
That's true,
man. All right. So name a player, past or present, that to you epitomizes West Ham.
I think I'll be the first one to say this, but Carlton Cole.
Yes. I love
that.
He loves the club. I know he played about 10-ish seasons and scored a handful of goals. Not the greatest player, but he showed up every weekend, and even now, when
he's an ambassador in the club. He's an ambassador.
Yankees and Red Sox showed up, and he was there swapping jerseys, meeting everybody. And
he works heavily with the as an ambassador for the women's team as well.
Yeah,
trying to help promote them, which is fantastic. Not like the other Cole, which is really starting to depress me, how much he's showing his love for Chelsea and all the ambassadorial things that he's doing for them now, coaching with them, and not just that, but showing up in there. Did you guys see their preseason ad? Chelsea preseason ad was floating around Twitter. It's like really well done. Like, it's like a commercial pretty much for Chelsea's upcoming season. And they brought back, random players from Chelsea's history. And of course, Joe Cole's sitting in there and doing his thing. Promoting the Blues, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Before he made his name, to be fair, before he made his name. But in that case,
he was something before he was something with West Ham before he left over there. People knew who the hell he was.
Oh, of course he was.
And he made his name with us, man. Come on.
Won his trophies with them. But I don't care about him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let him go. Let him be Chelsea then. Whatever.
I can't let it go, man.
No, you can't let Tompkins go. You can let Joe.
No, I can't. No, that's a Slavin thing. That's another story for another night. We're gonna have a Slavin special. I'm gonna invite Gio on because Gio loves him to death, and we're gonna have
Oh no, then we will go
Slav battle royale. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll throw down because I was not a fan of Slav. Sorry, just not a fan.
We should do that. We should get like a panel.
Yeah.
Slav supporters and Slav, haters, and just have a fucking 4-on-4 tag team match, like the Royal Rumble, not Royal Rumble. What is it? Survivor Series. And just tag each other in and start fucking slinging words.
Taking us down. He was taking us down.
Yep. You're not wrong.
Everybody forgets that he left on bad terms. Like, he left us alone, man. He left for a bigger club. And they're like, oh, I'm so happy he's back as a manager. He's the greatest.
When he was a player, he left for Everton, said, I actually want to win trophies and go to a bigger club. I mean,
yeah, fuck it. Anyway.
He should have hated it.
But at the same time, he's Dixie's best friend, and I want Dix on the show. We actually tried. We were so close to getting Julian Dix on the show, and once again, Slav comes into my life and takes something away from me. He took Julian Dix and brought him over to West Brom, and now Julian can't do the show because he's too busy with West Brom.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Slav.
Anyway, all right. So the last question is: if you could take a time machine to go back and experience anything to do with West Ham, when and where would you go?
Oh, this one's easy. This is the final game with the Bowl-in. And not specifically just for the game, but for the whole day. I was talking to guys about this earlier. I think the whole day it was carbon copy what West Ham is all about. It's a start that was pushed back because fans are getting crazy, and then we get an early lead on the top team and then we lose it really quickly. And then we fight back and get it again, and I was watching videos of it earlier, and I don't think there would have been anything better than just to be there, and especially for the stuff afterwards. You beat Man United, which everybody loves to beat. And you honestly didn't know how the game was going to go. You knew the team was going to put a shift in, but at the same time, it was Man United, and I'm sure they might have been expecting to move on to the next round of the cup, but that would have been fantastic to be there.
That's funny. Someone just said throwing beer at the Man United bus.
Tim, somebody who's been on our show was there. Who was there? One of the guys in New York, wasn't it? Remember, one of the guys we talked to went to that.
I remember. Might have been. I've done so many. I don't remember now.
We've done a lot of shows. You know what? Everybody should go back and look at our archives. Watch every video.
Right.
And we can remember who it was.
Give a like to every one of them.
Somebody we've had on here went to the last game. Yes, I think it was Jake from New York, but I'm not sure. But I think
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking for questions from the chat room now. Like I said, I would. I asked a question a few minutes ago. Scroll up. You're making a game out of it, PJ. What's the matter? Really? God. There's so much. Listen, I'm so happy that there's so much to scroll through. I've never, ever seen this much, this many words in our chat. So this is fantastic. I love it. On a Sunday night, thank you guys so much. But Jesus.
Real quick.
So basically, go ahead. I found it.
Okay. I was going to say real quick while you're scrolling, I would just, kind of plug what me and guys are doing for the end of the season.
Yes.
So we were kind of thinking up, it'd be interesting to kind of have a post-match reaction kind of thing to all the, at least the league games. Cubs and stuff might be a little difficult, being in the middle of the week and whatnot. But what we plan on doing is kind of talking about the lineups, giving a little reaction on that, if there was any surprises, anything that we would have done different for West Ham, and then kind of seeing, if anything was a surprise for the lineup for the team against us, and then giving our reaction to the flow of the game, maybe who we had as man of the match, maybe somebody that we thought could have surprised us, somebody who didn't put in enough work for wins and losses. Just because we get a win doesn't mean everybody gave their full effort. Mm-hmm. And then kind of possibly previewing the next game, what we need to do different, what we should continue to do, that kind of thing. So I think to start off, we might kind of pre-record it and then post it kind of at an early time, because obviously the first game's for me, it's at 4:30 in the morning. So to kind of do one directly after might not be the wisest thing to do, because one, maybe not everybody is up and things like that. But
Neil will be up. Neil from Australia. He's always up.
The Hammers Chat guys never sleep.
Hammers Chat, yeah, they'll be
no,
awake all the time.
Definitely not.
That's a good idea, though. And listen, we're definitely looking forward to that. I know Gaz has been talking to me about that like daily, about what you guys are planning, which is awesome. And listen, thank you for jumping in with them. And
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We're looking forward to that very much, and that just adds more depth to the show and more content. So, PJ's question. This is actually a really good question, by the way. I finally found it after scrolling through everyone's stuff. So she says, besides Green Street Hooligans, what's everyone's favorite West Ham representation in TV or movies between us three?
Wow. Dang. This might not be the best answer, but recently, John Batista was in a movie called Final Score.
Yeah.
That was shot at the Bowl-In. I don't know when it was shot, but the movie is whatever. It's a good popcorn blow-up things movie, but that had its moments.
I would say Alf, right? Alf Garnett. You guys, well, you're not as old as I am. So in the 70s, there was an American TV show called All in the Family with a guy named Archie Bunker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alf Garnett was the original Archie Bunker. He was Archie before there was Archie. He was on a show called Till Death Us Do Part. Ken is out there like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Ken gave me the DVDs, to watch.
That's awesome.
Don't get me wrong. Alf has his, his faults, but he's definitely loyal to West Ham. There's no doubt about that. And his son-in-law is Liverpool. They're always so, yeah, sure. Why not Alf? Yeah, true East Ender. There you go. There he is. Now the actor who played him was a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Warren Mitchell, I think his name was. He was Spurs. But the guy who wrote the series was from East London, and he was West Ham, and his dad was West Ham, and he wrote the character based on his dad.
Wow.
So there's some legitimacy to that.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
I think in the very first Harry Potter, and I'd have to double check, but in the very first Harry Potter, sitting on Harry's bed is a West Ham scarf as well, I think. I could be wrong, but I think I saw a picture floating around somewhere, but it was a West Ham scarf sitting on his bed.
No, I'll ask my wife. Yeah, she's watched all those movies 1,000 times. Yeah.
So the first time I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but someone brought it up in the chat room. I've never really talked about this, but the first time I ever heard about West Ham was like back in like, I don't know, 07, because I got into them about 2008. Okay, I kept picking them for my team for FIFA and so on like that, but I didn't get obsessed with them until halfway through the relegated season in 2010, 2011. But the first time I ever heard of West Ham and said, what's this, was the IT Crowd. There's an IT Crowd episode where Roy, or whatever his name is, was in the pub with the boys. He was trying to, make friends with the tough guys or whatever, and they asked him who he supported, and he looked around and saw a ham. It's just a ham sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, West Ham," and they all got excited because they show the tattoos about West Ham and so on. And that's the whole fucking episode is just one of my favorite IT Crowd episodes ever. Anyway, and then they end up going to a match, and it's just phenomenal. You guys got to check that out if you haven't already. But no, my favorite representation of West Ham was definitely. I love The Firm, man. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
I mean,
that's a legitimate movie.
Movie-wise, I would say The Firm. I know it's dated, kind of. I mean, but at the same time, I watched it maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and there was a part I forgot about that made me cringe. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with the fighting. It just had to do with something.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you have to watch it, but I got kids, and I'm like, oh, man.
I can't watch that anymore. Yeah,
that's tough.
So the first time I watched it, next time I saw it, I had kids, and I was like, nah, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, like, oh, come on, man. I'm like, come on. I kept yelling, come on. I want to see that.
Celly, have you seen The Firm?
I have not.
Okay, so it was made
on Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon.
Movie made about 1988 or 89, something like that. And it's Gary Oldman's first movie, and it's really a really good movie genuinely good movie about hooligans. And I think a lot of West Ham fans who experienced that era, they'll tell you that it's pretty legit. You know, it's not like Green Street. It's pretty legit.
Right.
Also, the IT Crowd, if you haven't seen it, the whole series, the whole show is fantastic. It's very funny.
Okay.
Definitely worth British comedy. Definitely worth watching. It's probably about 15 years old, something like that. Anyway, yeah, that's a great Tim. I'd forgotten about that. They go to the West Ham match.
Yeah, I love that, man. Every so often it'll pop up in my Facebook memories or whatever, and I'll keep resharing. I love that.
That's fantastic.
Let's see what else we got here before we head out. I don't really see any more questions other than ask him when I'm picking him up from the effing airport. That's Gaz, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we're really, really happy that you're going to be part of our team on American Hammers TV.
Seriously, brother, man. It's been awesome talking.
Getting bigger and bigger all the time, and we're really happy you're going to be part of it and doing something regular for us. We're super happy to have you here. So, thank you.
No, I'm excited for it too. You know, me and Gaz, we were talking about how it'd be cool if we could try to get something of our own kind of on the channel, because we talk almost every game, during the game, after the game, leading up to the game. You know, and there's sometimes I have to talk him off the ledge. You know, but yeah, no, it's going to be fun, you know, and like I said, it's just going to be a natural conversation between the two of us, you know, so it should be a good thing, you know.
We're really, really looking forward to it. I love having you in the Discord too, man.
Yep.
For all those watching that, just look at our social media timelines. I mean, we've posted the Discord link in there, and it doesn't expire. So the codes that we posted, either that or just hit up Gingerbread on Twitter. I mean, he's been our Discord street team guy pretty much. So yeah, there's a lot of around on there, you know, and it's been fantastic having you on, man. I do got to mention a few things like what we got coming up. It looks like we got a dude from Maryland coming up on Wednesday. Nice. With Lee and Wayne. Yep. His name is Zach, I believe. And then on Thursday, my memory is gobshite. Let's see. Sorry, I should have had that open. I thought I could memorize it, man. That's why I'm not an actor, because I can't memorize lines.
That's the reason?
The main reason, yeah. No, that's last week. All right. No, that's the week before that. All right. That's no, that's last week. I'm exhausted. Oh, Dave Sperry from St. Louis Hammers. Oh yeah, dude. That's Thursday. So
St. Louis. I've been meaning to tell you. I need to get a hold of the St. Louis Hammers. Chuck Core, our friend the author, wants to watch some games with them, wants to hang out with them a little bit.
We'll talk about that on awesome. We'll talk about that on Thursday, man. We got Brawley over there. We got Ben Hughes, who's been on the show a bunch of times with us. I love Ben. And the guy we talked to, or me and Justin talked to last Thursday, the guy from Memphis, he used to hang out with them up in St. Louis, man. Great time at the Amsterdam. So yeah, cool. All right, so after that, we got a guy from Irons United. One of the big boys over there, that's Stelios. If you guys follow Irons United on social media, but they're on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. We had Luke Bailey on like weekend before or a week ago from Irons United. They've invited us on the show before. So great dudes. We got Stelios. He's going to be on Sunday. And then, you know, obviously this Monday night, Scott Davis and friends, as I like to call it. I don't know exactly who his guests will be. I just know that he's going to have some really awesome guests, and they're going to shoot the shit. And I know that a Bitch Fest is on its way too. We just don't know what the topic's going to be. That's the whole surprise of it.
Because Scott's Canadian, he'll do the whole show in English, and he'll do it again in French right now.
You get that, Scott? I know you're watching. Yeah.
As is the law in Canada, you have to respect the Quebecois citizens of your fine bilingual country. So don't want to leave them out, Scott.
Scott, okay, Scott says they'll call it Scott and the Smart Guys. All right, yeah, man. What else? Lost memory. A bunch of people in here. So listen, guys, thank you, every one of you guys, for popping in and chatting. It looks like you're all having a great time tonight. I do want to mention one last thing that I keep forgetting about: the Fantasy League. Okay, so we got this Fantasy League going on. The guy from Mississippi Hammers, Alex, who we had on as a guest, Lee, you talked to him, right, with me?
Yeah. Alex, good.
Alex, awesome dude. He's like, dude, I set up the Fantasy League. You know, let's get this thing going. I'm like, you know what? Let's not only get it going, because he wanted to get as many people in there as possible. He wanted to, like, you know, get as many as X has in his channel, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get as many people in there as we can. We already have people from different groups. Like we got Crossed Hammers in there. We got some West Ham Fan TV people with hopefully some Hammers chat. Charlie, I hope you get in there, man. And others. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to give some swag away at the end to the winner.
Nice.
So what else? The other thing. We're going to do a weekly show. A new weekly show, just Fantasy League. It's going to be hosted by Mr. Alex out of Mississippi. And I believe it's going to be on Tuesday nights, since we don't have anything on Tuesday nights. And it's going to be, a discussion. He's going to invite at least 2 random people from our league to join the show each week, so that everybody gets a turn and discuss the fantasy happenings, man, for the previous week and what's coming up. So it should be fun.
My first pick in Fantasy League is Karen Brady.
Scott Davis says we all have fantasies, Tim.
Maybe that's a different. I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong kind of Fantasy League. I don't know.
Oh, and Scott, Jesus Christ, Scott Davis says it's him, Jeremiah from Green Street Hammers, and Tony from the American.
Oh, where'd you go?
Nice little buffer there.
Both of which.
Yeah, you cut out for a second there.
What?
Just for a second. No,
Again? Why does this always happen at the end when I'm trying to say the important
you were
stuff?
saying Tony.
Tony from American West Ham Podcast and Jeremiah from Green Street Hammers. They're both going to be on with Scott on Monday. And both the Green Street Hammers and American West Ham Podcast you can listen to on iTunes, SoundCloud, all the good stuff. Okay, so if you have a podcast app or whatever, you can listen to them. They got good stuff. Okay, we do videos, they do audio. If you want to listen to their stuff on the drive, go for it. They're good stuff, good people. Scott Davis says Karen Brady's Carpet Army.
Oh, you can bet it's a claret carpet too.
Pete is asking if I'm on dial-up again. Just him, no one else. But listen, people, why is it like it was fine the whole show, but it's always near the end when I swear Scott or someone's in there like messing with the controls, saying, okay, time to turn it off, let's go. Oh yeah, Casey, yes, I forgot, man. We haven't even mentioned that at all yet. Casey Moore from Chicago Hammers. We've had him on the show. He's done some co-hosting with us before. We also had him on. He's also huge in the Discord that we got going on.
Casey's a very smart dude.
Very, very, very. Let's not blow him up too big. Come on.
No, but it's true. It's true.
I know. He's a great guy. All right. Sheffield United till he dies. Just kidding, Casey. Anyway, he's
he worked there, but he had the good sense to continue supporting West Ham. So
I know.
Yeah.
Pedal faster, Tim. I know. Sorry, man. It's just this late. So, hold on. It's on the line or over the line, Casey?
That 56K modem is going to arrive next week.
So, hold on. OTL Football Podcast. That's Casey and Justin from Chicago. Pretty much all the Chicago boys. They got a podcast which is general football. Football, not American football. The good football. So they got a podcast. They can check it out on SoundCloud, and I think they're getting it up on iTunes and everything else. So it's OTL Football Podcast. All right. Jesus Christ, John, man, I can't repeat anything you're saying tonight, man. Discord is way better than WhatsApp. WhatsApp is just, man, you want to get viruses and all that other stuff.
Oh no, WhatsApp is garbage.
You go for that, man. I'm all set with you download the app, right? This is WhatsApp for you guys before we leave. You download the app, you join a large group of people who post lots of pictures. You don't know about the settings yet, and all of a sudden you open the chat, and then next thing you know, your photo album is filled with thousands of photos from the previous chats, and you can't just select all and delete. You got to go in. They're all mixed in with your photos now. You got to spend like fucking 3 days taking them off. So know WhatsApp.
That happened to me, and you're right. And if you use WhatsApp, don't automatically download the photos. Set it to not automatically download the photos. So my wife's family uses it, and I don't want pictures. My phone is old. It doesn't have much storage. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, TJ, Gaz, Neil, Casey, John, everybody, Ken, PJ, Gabe, everybody, all you guys, Gaz, all you people that are in the chat room tonight. Thank you so much, man. We'll see you Monday night. with Scott Davis, and then maybe the Bitch Fest before we get into. I think Tuesday we're definitely going to be doing the first fantasy show, and then Wednesday we got Wayne and Lee, and then Thursday you got me and I think Gaz, because Justin's going to be away for a couple weeks moving. So enjoy. We got lots of stuff for you coming ahead. Thank you so much. Please share, like, and subscribe.
Thank you, Celly. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you,
guys.
Celly. We'll talk to you off the air real quick. All right.
Okay.